Hey Book Dragons, welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking the fall of Hyperion. Roll it! I just recently finished The Fall of Hyperion by Dan Simmons. This is the second book in the Hyperion Cantos, and it's a 4-book series. I don't think there's currently any more planned, but I could be wrong. The first 2 books, of course, are Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion, and books 3 and 4 are Endymion and the Rise of Endymion. So really good series so far, and I'll let you know my thoughts on it. A couple of things I want to direct your attention to. First, make sure you check the description below, because I will leave a link to my review for the first book, Hyperion, and I'll leave it in the cards at the end of the video as well. I will also leave a link to the live stream I did with Carl and Pete at Geek on My Sleeve. We did a live stream, spoiler-filled live stream, just be forewarned, on the Fall of Hyperion, so make sure you check that out as well. And as always, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And now it's time to get into the review. So when I read Hyperion, I was just blown away. The level of the prose, the ideas put forth in the book, the philosophical elements, the character development in the story was just top notch. And sometimes with the second book, you never know what you're going to expect. A lot of times the second book in the series is kind of a letdown in some respects. And by no means was that the case with Fall of Hyperion. This book was equally as good as Hyperion was, possibly even better. Dan Simmons' original intent, from what I understood, was that Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion would be one story. And that's very evident with the way that they were both written. But when he went to publish the story, the publisher wanted him to break it up into 2 books. So, and it does make for a shorter book. It's a quicker read, and you get to look forward to part 2. So it still follows our same cast of characters from Hyperion, but there are more characters added into the mix. So in the first book, we follow 6 main characters, well, 7, 6 or 7 main characters. Hetmastine is the true voice of the tree. They're a priesthood of a tree cult, essentially. You've got Leonard Hoyt, who is a Catholic priest of the now drastically waning Catholic religion. You've got a consul from the hegemony of man, who is a dignitary and diplomat representing the hegemony. You've got Braun Lamia, who is a private detective. You've got Saul Weintraub, who is a scholar and a father who has brought his infant daughter along on the trip with them. And you also have Martin Salinas, who is a poet slash comic relief for the story. He's just hilarious. And then you have General Kassad, who is a warrior, military general, and they have all been put on this pilgrimage to seek out this otherworldly entity known as the Shrike, who seems to go back and forth throughout time and wreak havoc on the timeline and most of the previous pilgrimages that have gone to visit the Shrike, none have returned. Whether the Shrike has killed them all or sent them to different timelines, it's not really clear. So these 7 are on the final scheduled pilgrimage to see the Shrike, and they each have their own reasons. I won't go into details, but if you want to find out more about the first book, Hyperion, make sure you do check out my review. So I am going to try and keep this as spoiler free as possible because I really do want you to read it. This book picks up exactly where Hyperion left off. Hyperion does end, but the ending is very much left open. So you really need to read the second book to get the completion of the story. It picks up right after book 1 leaves off, and the pilgrims are on Hyperion now, and they're making preparations to hopefully meet up with the Shrike and get their wishes granted or be killed in the process of making their requests. It really continues with the same great character development, although a bit diminished in this story because the characters have already been fully introduced in book 1. So there is a shift from a character-focused book, which book 1 was, to a more narrative and plot-driven story in book 2. And there are some new characters introduced. There was a cybrid named Joseph Severn, who is a replicant based on the personality of John Keats. There's a similar cybrid in the first book based on the personality of John Keats. There are some similarities. I won't go into details why, but you just have to read it. So the story starts off with Joseph Severn narrating the story, and he is narrating it from a dream state, as it were. He has these vivid dreams where he experiences different events, where he experiences different characters in the story. So he is connected in his dreams to the pilgrims, and he's been assigned to the commander general, or I can't remember what she's called, but the CEO Gladstone. He's assigned to CEO Gladstone, who kind of oversees the hegemony, and she has commissioned him to be part of her entourage so that she can hear more about his dreams, and by doing so keep up with what's happening with the pilgrims down on the planet Hyperion. At the same time, they are being prepared to come under the attack of the Ousters, or what they think is an attack from the Ousters. And the Ousters are a rebel faction of humanoid persons who have over time and centuries modified their bodies to be able to adapt to different planets and climates and gravity restrictions depending on where they are in the universe. So the main factions that are at war against each other are the Ousters and the Hegemony, and there is also the AI Collective, the Universal Digital Consciousness, if you will. So these three are vying for control of the universe, and there are these portals that humans and pretty much everyone uses called Farcasters that allows you to be instantaneously transported to any point in the universe that you choose. And there are different doorways that you have to go through to access different points in the universe. So the technology is very, very advanced, but there is a very subtle mystery element to this story that I really love, because the mystery of the Farcasters and just what's behind the Farcasters begins to be unraveled. And it's just really spectacular. As I said, book one perfectly ended the story, but it ended it with leaving you wanting a lot of information. And this book, The Fall of Hyperion, delivers on every single point. I found out the exact details that I wanted to know to wrap up the story from book one, but there's still kind of some ambiguity and mystery surrounding certain elements of the story that still makes you ponder and think on it and come up with different theories about what's going on. And so that gives this book really, really high reread value. So Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion are stories that I would definitely reread again. And I remember I gave Hyperion 5 stars, and I give Fall of Hyperion a solid 5 stars as well. So, just blew me away. I have never read a book like this. I mean, sure, there were elements that you see that you've seen before, but it was really other things pulling from Hyperion, I think. Like, there were some obvious things where you looked at it and you're like, oh, the Matrix definitely took stuff from Hyperion. And just some of the quotes from John Keats in the book, so aptly handled and just perfectly timed, and it just gave a beautiful poetic element to the story. I was just, oh man, I can't gush about this book enough. It is solidly in my top 5 science fiction books, if not my top 5 favorite books of all time. And I put Hyperion there as well because I consider them one book, one overall story. So yeah, it just really a fantastic read. If there are some things that I didn't talk about, let me know in the comments. If you want to discuss it more, you can check in with me on my Discord too. You can join the Discord, and I'd love to chat more with you guys there and have you join the book dragons on Discord. I think it would just be so much fun to have you join there. So, final thought. As I said before, this is solidly a 5-star read. If I could give it a 5.5 star, I would. And who's to say I can't, right? I can give it a 5.5 star. But I'm just going to limit it at 5 stars. It is just a top-notch story. Really, Hyperion and Fall of Hyperion were meant to be one book, one story, and I definitely think they should be read that way. If you have not read these books, you are sorely missing out. If you enjoy science fiction, if you enjoy philosophy, if you enjoy poetry, even in some respects, and if you enjoy books that have just really high level prose that just is beautiful to read and captivates you the whole time, I highly, highly recommend these books to you. I think it's funny. I saw a 1-star review on Goodreads, and it was basically a person who had read book 1, and then they went to book 2, and they're like, what the heck did I just read? And they gave it a 1-star review because it was too philosophical. Okay, I get it, but read reviews, you kind of know going into it that it's going to be philosophical. I mean, the first book, Hyperion, was very philosophical, so I just thought that was funny. I got a kick out of it. So that is my review for Fall of Hyperion. I had a blast reading it, and I can't wait to continue on in the series. I will eventually do that. So keep tuned to my channel for future reviews in the Hyperion Cantos universe. Make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Make sure that you join my Discord. We have a lot of fun discussing on my Discord, talking about different topics, books we're reading. If you're a booktuber, you can post your videos there. We have a place where you can share your content. Just a lot of fun. So click the link in my description below to join my Discord. I'd love to have you there. And stay tuned for future videos. I recently finished Breach of Peace by Daniel Green. I will be putting up a review for that book very soon. And I've got some other fun stuff planned coming up in the very near future. So make sure you stay tuned for more content from me. And most importantly, make sure that you are reading more books, guys. I will talk to you later. Take care. Bye.